is the Her Majesty Canadian ship Sackville. So I had a lot of luck with it. And I recently am lucking out with the so-called Tribal destroyer. Unfortunately, there's no surviving sloops, so I'm on my own there. So this right here, it took me. I started in around June, July last year, and the entire model is done. There's, I mean, done as in my book as being ready to be tested as a proof of concept. So the entire flower is now in the hands of the developers, and now they are giving me they're putting together a code packet so then I could fully implement this into the game and then start to test.
So it's going to be like a hidden test mode or whatever where you can trial things
Yeah.
that
most
will be
likely.
available for everyone, or will it just be like an internal
Hey,
preview?
if you need help, man, I'm on board. This looks amazing.
So starting off, I started off with the helm. So that's what we're looking at right now. The helm is, as you can see, you have your ship's wheel, your EOT off onto the left. You have the revolution telegraph, which you could set the speed of your screws. So you could fine tune it. You have a compass as well as a repeater up here. Light switches is off to the left. Red lights and white lights are available. Odd enough, you have a captain's bed where he would stay some of the time. Chart table off to the side. Behind the sliding door, you would then have the radio equipment and radio room. Let me zoom in. Go down. Too far down. Too far back. The radio room here.
Oh, that was it. That was the radio.
Yep. So you have the radio room here, which most of the radio equipment will be 100% usable. Especially the MDF5, which stands for the medium wave radio direction fiber, which is this little instrument here. Right now, currently, I have the radar equipment also in the radio room just for convenience. It's just do not think, oh, why would you ever need a dive officer on a flower corvette?
So, well, no, I mean, just like, there's a lot of things in the U-boat that it's not being depicted, but you probably don't want to be the engine guy. So anyway, continue.
Yeah. So a lot of this equipment will be usable. I've tried to accurately model to real pictures that I have found. Let's see, radio room. I'm very organized.
Somebody might have done the work for you already. That new movie with Tom Hanks coming out, is that one of these destroyers?
Oh, yes. Hold on. Where? I have to go to my desktop.
I'm distracting you. My bad.
Oh, by the way, I did some more research about a couple more of the instruments in the radio room, and just incidentally, that black box radio? I found out that it actually has a white label instead of a yellow one, because the yellowing is from modern pictures of them because they've aged.
Yeah, but
Wow.
they also had... They aged for one, but for two, they did have amber lights behind them because, incandescent bulbs. So, and he was a contact that I made from Canada.
Oh, you actually got in contact?
That picture right there is the Sackville in the new movie Greyhound. The last surviving Corvette. Now, how accurately do they depict the Sackville? I don't. But it's in the movie, so. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about all this. Continue.
So yeah, the radio room, because Jerry Proc, he was the one who did the radio refit aboard the Haida, and so he has this entire website dedicated to the radio equipment on the Haida. And that being said, I reached out to him to contact him about my own project. And at first, I mean, he was like any typical old man, I don't want to be bothered, go away. But after I started showing him pictures, especially of my radio equipment in my room, his kid, I mean, he was like a kid again, where his face just lit up like a kid in a candy store. And then suddenly he really got interested. And so he started to try to connect me with all of his old peers. And that's what got a lot from the Canadian side really interested in what I was doing. And they've been trying to help me out by providing me with additional manuals and pictures, especially. Like, you could try to look up pictures of a lot of this equipment, even through Google. Like, everyone says, oh, you should just Google it. It's so easy. Good luck, my friend. Good luck, because you can't find this crap anywhere. So I found a lot of really good pictures of the equipment, like this one, for example. Well, I can actually read the thing.
Marconi?
Yeah, Marconi made a lot of the radio equipment. It was Marconi, Peevely, and I think there was a few others.
Do you mean Peavy or Peevely?
Yeah, Peavy, I think. If I got it correctly. I try to remember this off the top of my head because I asked this once, like, what were the other manufacturers? But Marconi was definitely the top of the line, and almost guaranteed to see Marconi on every single one of these ships.
Do you still want to know what all the knobs do on their radios?
I understand everything except for the PV500.
That's the catch.
Yeah, this big monster of like instrument hidden in this corner is the one instrument that I have very little.
That looks like breakers
on.
up top.
Привет, товарищ.
I mean, it's a
Привет,
freaking pipe.
товарищ.
What? So I'm at this time, everything that needs to be modeled as far as the ship goes is there for use. So, but I mean, the non-essentials like ladders and ropes and things like that, and other little trinkets of aesthetics, I did not focus on that, and will not continue to focus on that until I get more of the mechanical side implemented. So, I had to really look into the Polaris, and I didn't know that there were very few cases, very few, which they had the meters mounted to the Polaris, which is a way of range finding. So I added it, obviously. As far as ways of ranging, I'm still getting information on that. Right now, right here where you see this gray box, that's just a placeholder for the Type X, which was it was the instrument which was for encrypting, like the Enigma machine, and it was a monster of a machine. I just have it there at this time. Don't worry about it. But where this table is supposed to be another navigation table. There were two navigation tables, very odd. One in the helm, one up here in the Aztec, of course, sonar. I have right now the 4 instruments here, and I still have a little bit of work on some of these instruments. But I have the bearing recorder on the far left, the trainer right here, almost in the middle, with the automatic trainer down below. Have the range recorder off right here, and then I have the depth recorder with its automatic trainer as well. in the automatic trainers.
Nice.
Yeah, so there was both manual and automatic training. And it worked very similar to how the hydrophone worked on the
U-boat.
U-boat. Very similar with great exceptions. So, unlike the U-boat, the flower corvettes and other United Kingdom ships had a clutch. This clutch is what they nicknamed the Spider. That's what you see the wheels going off with its indicator. So that clutch gripped the actual compass card. So as you were to maneuver the ship around, you would always know what heading you were. The indicator up on top was your bearing indicator, so you know if you're actually in front of your ship looking or if you're looking off to your side. The little piece here, that this little piece up top was actually a light. So it would be either in one of two states, either always on or always off. So it would indicate if you were aligned to the front of your ship. With the actual, where you're looking with the hydrophone or sonar, whatever. Then you had a scale card which was in the center and it read from 60, 30, 15. So the idea was that you would then rotate the entire assembly. And my hierarchy is a little bit messed up right there. So come here. Back to pivot. So the idea was that you would then rotate the so-called, you would rotate to where you want to look by, say, 60 degrees, right? And you would use the automatic trainer and it would train to 60 degrees. Once you released it, it would then step forward by 5 degrees, send out a pulse, and it would wait for a return. If you didn't hear a return, it would then step 5 degrees, and it would repeat this all the way up to 60 degrees in the other direction. So you went from 60 to 60. If you heard a pulse, you would then hit the echo, which is what they call ping, and it would then step backwards. And what you would do is then try to cut onto your target. So you would have pretty much an image of the front and the back of the submarine, and that will all be recorded on the bearing recorder. And where the middle is supposed to, in theory, be the true bearing of the target. So with the bearing recorder, what you would do is you would rotate this assembly up on the top to match the same slope as your approach, and that would then indicate your lead angle to intercepting the target. HE, that switches from passive to active sonar. So echo is obviously active. HE stands for hydrophone effect, and that is passive. And of course, you have how much of a step you want down below, which
what's the thing to the right?
This here, that's the range recorder. So up on top, you would have range from 0 to 18, 0 to 36, which is in like 18, that is 1,800 yards.
Okay.
The scale off down to the side would be from 0 time to it would
3
actually
seconds.
go. I have 3 seconds here, but I think it actually went all the way down to 6 seconds on the scale. I just didn't. That's my guess. Given all the other information, so I just need to rebuild that scale. So this is how this right here is the manual to the recording devices of sonar.
Cool.
Okay. So let's scroll down. Okay, so zoom. So as you see here, this is a picture of the actual record. So when you send out a pulse, what you're going to have is the initial pulse. So this will be indicated on the far left side here, and that's your initial pulse. Your return is this this over here. That's your so-called echo trace. And what would happen is that if you were to receive a contact, you would see that indicating there. And of course, it's in a waterfall top down. So top of the page is 0 time. That's like now. And that just shows how many seconds ago it recorded. So the idea behind this is that you would have a slit lamp right underneath, and that slit lamp would have a bar right on the top, which also is matched to the same line of the lamp. So you would rotate this slit lamp until the light matched the same slope as the trace that you are recording. So as you are approaching your target, this metal bar right on the top would then make contact with the pin, which completes the circuit, and that calculates, now is the time to drop the depth charges or fire the hedgehog.
Oh wow! What about depth?
So depth was set right on here as well, the depth adjustment scale. So that shows that right there is the depth of the depth charge in hundreds of feet. So it is set to right now it's only set to 100 feet, which is a little shallow. Then you would have your set switch for attacking with depth charges or the head thrown weapon. This here is your ship speed scale, like what your approach speed is. And this could work up to, I think, 22 knots. So you could be moving really fast and never lose contact. Because of course you're not really listening with hydrophone, you're actively pinging. And then your depth charge scale here, this is pretty much how you set the pattern of your depth charge attack or your pattern of your head thrown weapon. And so you would right now it's probably set for ATW, but if set for
It's pretty cool. It's all before silicone and the microchip.
Oh yeah, it's all mechanical. Do I have? No, that's fair. But it's upside down. But you see how it says A, B, C, D, all that. All that is a different kind of pattern to drop, and every ship was different depending on what they had. If they had one rail, or if they had two. If they had one depth charge thrower, two depth chargers, etc., etc.
Can you show me the depth charge throwers?
Oh yeah. So let's go back to here. So you see these 4 light blue on the stern?
Yeah.
These are the depth charge throwers.
Do they have to load them?
Yeah, they have to load them.
So you have one person at the helm, you have the radio, and then how many in that one room?
What?
So what position loads, or is that just like they reload naturally, kind of like torpedoes?
they're gonna be naturally.
Okay,
No.
gotcha.
That way it's not too much hassle or to worry about. So yeah, there are 4 throwers on each side, and there's supposed to be a reload rack here, but I didn't add that yet. The reloading rails are back here. On top, you see that those are smoke candles, so you could either mark the position of your last drop, or you could use it as the smoke screen to block the view of the convoy as you hunt down the submarine, so they can't take more pot shots at you. And there's a lot of there's about 80 depth charges here on the back rails. And
How many does it
about
take
20
to do one run?
It depends on the pattern you drop. So you could drop, if you were to use the only 2 rails, that would be 5 charge drop. If you were to use the 2 rails and the depth charge throwers, if you would use only 2 throwers, that would be a 7 pattern drop. And if you would use all 4 throwers and the rails, that would be a 9 pattern.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the patterns differ for what you set it to, like how many feet apart the depth charges are, at what depth they are. The idea is to drop for every normal charge, you'll be dropping a heavy, so they sink at around the same rate, but they are about 50 meters apart. So the idea is to surround and sandwich the U-boat, so you're exploding from underneath and on top, just crushing.
Wow.
The most devastating, I say, that is going to be a game changer is the Hedgehog, which is up here, off onto the starboard side. So these are mortar shells, 24 of them, which would be thrown ahead of the boat. And given that they are thrown ahead, that means you will never hear the ship stop pinging, because it won't lose contact. Because this will fire about, give or take, 200 or so, about 250 feet ahead of the ship, and in a really wide circle surrounding your entire boat. And they are so small that you would probably not even hear it on the hydrophone either, because you would most likely be hearing only the engines or the screws of the attacking ship. You won't even hear them fire off the Hedgehog and when it hits. So it makes it very hard to outmaneuver, and they sink very fast, as opposed to the depth charges,
Yeah.
which you would have much more time to evade. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a game changer there. And here is the deck gun. It has its own shield. It's on the side. I have these rockets, which are snowflake rockets, which are flare rockets. So you will be able to actually light up your
Cool.
opponent at night. And so that is how that is going to work. This cannon is a 4.5-inch gun, so it's not something to take so lightly if it hits. It would definitely do some damage, but yeah, the rockets are on the side of the deck shield, deck gun shield, which is how it was in real. I had a lot of pictures to help me with this.
Cool.
And so, just like the deck gun of the submarine, it would be a one man, controlling things like that.
All this looks amazing, man. Is that a siren or no? It's a lamp.
Oh yeah, that's a signal.
Oh,
Signal lamp and spotlight. So I do plan for signaling to be a thing where you could send messages between ships with it. For the most part, what I plan to do also is so you won't have so many people spread out. Is with the 20 mil, is wherever it's pointing, so will the spotlight.
okay.
And when you go up to the spotlight, what I plan is then it becomes a signal lamp. So you could use it for signaling, or you could use it as a spotlight, and
Cool.
it's for convenience. The surface radar is right up here in this what they call the lantern. So the original hut for the radar equipment was actually in this little area right behind this door. So right now I have a lot of its equipment in the radio room. I may just move it back to the hut, but I don't know.
What's
I
wrong
gotta
with it
figure
being
it.
in the hut?
Well, because I'm trying to keep every position in relatively the same area. Like the radio man would be mostly in charge of the radar as well. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
got you. I
trying to
understand.
so I'm just trying to figure out how to lay out everything. Um because the captain will most likely be on the bridge most of the time. And just like the TDC, where you have one guy on the periscope, one guy on the TDC, switching torpedoes, it's a two-man job. I mean, one man can do it, but it's mostly a two-man job. That's how I still see the Aztec officer, which is replacing the dive officer. He will be up here with the captain, so they will be making the tax most of the time. Uh, this is this what you see here. That's a flag blocker. I am thinking about adding flags for communication as well as signal lamps, things like that. Additional methods of communication other than radio messages.
Is there going to be like any kind of weird Enigma uh, stuff, or just this is early war,
Yes.
late war?
Yeah, so that's what I have as a placeholder. I don't have this box, which is a gray box right there. Is a Type X. The dimensions of the Type X. Type X was their form of Enigma machine, and let's see if I actually have pictures of that.
And what brought you on to actually start doing this? Just do you like the game, or like you?
I love this game, and I wanted to do 3D modeling for this time because I was working into the. I was working on a 2D project for the last several years, and I just really wanted to get back into 3D modeling, so I just started to model the flower, and then I was like, now I want to see if I can actually get it into the game.
Cool.
Yes, so these are just a little bit more higher renders. My beautiful spotlight.
Any textures?
Yeah, let me like here. I removed a lot of the textures because obviously as I work on it, it does take a lot of memory. But here I have a lot of the textures, the wood grain, as you can see, the painted hull, the brass.
Nope, that's the stuff they can do later too.
These are.
What about character models? Oh hell yeah! That looks good right there.
Yeah. Here, this is a nice render of the hedgehog. That's what I focused on with that. Here is when I removed the normal maps, but this is when I had the normal maps on. Red, yeah, this is the helm in red light. better model here. So this is when I was doing a lot of the radio room, its textures and things.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
Modeling that in. Let's see. Oh yeah, I also was working on MPBs as well. I plan to sneak that into the game soon. Once I get the code package. Once I get the code package, this would be the first thing to go into the game immediately. So these are really fast little suckers, and would most likely replace a lot of the trawlers, as they did in real. So they have torpedoes and depth charges, so they will be able to go toe and toe with U-boats as well. They also have sonar as well. Not the best sonar, but they could still hunt you down.
Cool.
That's for damn sure. Let's see. These are I long changed this here because that was wrong, and I was trying to do the actual radar equipment.
Looks like an
here.
oscilloscope.
It is. It's an A scope. So I tried to implement that into it, and I'm still working with it. You could see a little bit more. Here's the best picture I could say of the radio room, because this is when I finished a lot.
Was the shelf
of it.
that thin?
Yeah.
Wow. Metal or something?
I think it was actually made out of aluminum and not wood, because I remember reading about it was like this. The original shelf was made of aluminum metallic flake. It had like metallic, with a metallic flake, and it looked like had like this green paint on it from when I was hearing back from the actual ship cap.
Is there anything? I've been recording this, to be honest with you, and are you cool with transparency? Do you want to like see this out there and have people comment and all that?
That would be cool.
Okay, I'm not a big YouTube guy or anything. I have like 20 views here and there, but like I'm trying to get my crew into this the game and everything, and this has been badass. I feel like I stumbled upon something really cool.
So yeah, here I have pictures of the interior of the Sackville. So you see here in the mess hall, they have a lot of the sailors' trunks, things like that. Most of the interior was made into, it's a floating museum, so a lot of it has been dedicated more to things like that. But it does give you quite an idea. Let's see, how many other pictures do I have? Because I have references as well. That's of the engine room.
Oh
wow. That's the mess, the kitchen. So you have a couple of things here where you can kind of make out some of the books and things like that. Calendars, Robin Hood oats. I find that funny. Couple of artwork, things like that. So I could definitely recreate it because I do graphic design too. I could take a lot of what I see, try to find other images, and try to replicate it. That I can't replicate because a lot of Donald Duck and things like that. Those were the emblems on the ship. So some, like, you could see into the radio here.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, I'll go back. Yeah, the MDF 5 radio direction finder. I got pictures of the hedgehog, so I was able to retexture that as is. There were several other little things, like you could see the gameplay too. Since I've been hounding one up.
Well, you seem like you're doing an amazing job, man. Hats off.
Oh,
Would you? I'm gonna get off here soon. Would you like to wrap this up? Would you like to look at that?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the audience anything, or like, what's your Patreon?
Oh, my Patreon. Let's get Patreon. Wait, I think it would be cool to get to.
That's what I would be if I was on a destroyer, or a Corvette, a potato peeler. What's going on in the picture below there with the fucking dude and the what's going on?
I have no
What
idea.
the fuck? What kind of ship was this?
It's the Navy. What can you say, my
Don't
friend?
ask, don't tell.
Exactly. So yeah, right here, it's Patreon. It's just Escort Ships is the name of the channel, and I post every time I make a major update. I post, and to have an additional layer of transparency, I also post like CVs of the where the assets are going, such as when I make purchases for new books, more museum archival fees, things like that. So I always try to keep a layer of transparency.
Cool.